There's a specific sound that a piece of space-grade titanium makes when it hits a marble table. It's a heavy, authoritative thud, a sound that for years signaled you had arrived. If you're a credit card enthusiast, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The American Express Centurion Card, better known as the Black Card. It's a stuff of rap lyrics and urban legends, a piece of metal so shrouded in mystery that people will spend millions of dollars just for the chance to be invited to pay a 5-figure fee for it. After carrying this card in my wallet since 2002, I finally decided to cancel it. Why would I walk away from a status symbol that most people are desperately trying to get? Because honestly, the math stopped mathin' a long time ago. We're living in a world where the flex has become a financial anchor and the prestige is a little more than a very expensive coat of paint on a product that has been gutted of its actual value. In the early 2000s, having the Black Card meant you were part of an exclusive membership that actually worked for you. Today, it feels like being the last person at a party where the music has stopped, the lights are on, and the host is charging you $5,000 a year just to stand in the lobby. If you ever wondered if the Black Card is actually worth the hype, or if you're just paying for a heavy piece of metal to impress a waiter who actually doesn't care, this video is for you. When I first received my invitation back in 2002, the experience is very different. There's no space-grade titanium. In fact, the card was made of flimsy plastic that looked like any other credit card, just black. It arrived in a simple, unassuming folder. There wasn't an elaborate welcome kit designed for a YouTube thumbnail. Back then, the card didn't need to scream. Its benefits did all the talking. Fast forward to today, and the presentation has become the main event. Now, the card is minted from heavy metal and arrives in a box that looks like it should contain a high-end Rolex watch. As the tangible benefits fizzled out, the packaging has been dialed up to 11. Amex is selling an image now because the utility simply can't justify the price tag anymore. Getting the card has also become absurd. You can't apply for this card, you have to be invited. The exact requirements aren't officially disclosed, but it's an open secret that you need to be swiping at least $250K a year. And if you live in a high cost of living city like Boston, New York, or Los Angeles, word on the street is that the bar has moved to $1 million or more in annual spend. If those weren't high enough hurdles, Amex is picky about where you spend it. They aren't looking for the guy who buys $250K worth of inventory for his construction business. They want the luxury spender, the person dropping 6 figures on the first-class Singapore suites, Hermes bags, and 5-star resorts. The biggest pill to swallow is the cost of admission. In 2002, the annual fee was a relatively modest $2,500. Don't get me wrong, that's still a lot of money for a piece of plastic, but it was easily offset by legendary perks like the best value guarantee. This was essentially a legal cheat code for savvy shoppers. If you bought a high-end item, say a $2,000 laptop, and found a low price advertised anywhere else within 60 days, Amex would refund you the difference up to $2,000 per year. I remember finding a plasma TV on a sketchy website for $800 less than I paid at a major retailer. Even though I would never actually buy from that site, Amex cut me a check for the $800 difference without blinking. Using that benefit once was worth 32% of the annual fee. But those days are long gone. Today, the annual fee has doubled to $5,000. And to add insult to injury, they've tacked on a one-time $10,000 initiation fee. That means in your first year, you're shelling out $15,000 just for the privilege of saying you have the card. You could buy a decent used car for the price of that first year membership. Unless that card is literally printing money for you, there is no world where a $5,000 annual fee makes sense for a product that earns the same reward points as a card that costs $0. Speaking of rewards, let's talk about the math on the earn rate. The Centurion card earns exactly 1 Amex point per dollar spent. In 2002, that was the industry standard. There were no multiplier cards back then. But the world has moved on, and Amex's flagship card has been left in the dust. Think about the opportunity costs here. If you're a high spender, you're likely dropping a lot of money at restaurants and supermarkets. If you use the Black Card for a $1,000 dinner, you get 1,000 points. If you use an Amex Gold card that earns 4x points at restaurants and costs a fraction of the price, you get 4,000 points. Amex points are worth about 1.5 cents each. So that 3,000 point difference means you lost $45 by using the Black Card. Let's look at a typical high-income household. If you spend $10,000 a year at restaurants and another $15,000 on high-end groceries, here is how the math breaks down. That's a gap of 105,000 points. At a conservative value of 1.5 cents each, you are effectively paying an additional $1,575 in hidden taxes every year just by using the wrong card. When you add the $5,000 annual fee, you're essentially paying almost $7,000 a year for the clout of using the heavy Black Card at the grocery store. It's a vanity tax, plain and simple. The main reason I kept the card for so long was the travel perks. In the early 2000s, the Centurion card made you feel like royalty at the airport. You were granted automatic top-tier or mid-tier elite status with a laundry list of airlines: Continental, Northwest, Delta, and US Airways. In those days, the system wasn't optimized for profit the way it is now. I booked the cheapest 200 economy ticket from Boston to Los Angeles, and because of my status, I get upgraded to first class 90% of the time. I was essentially flying in a $1,500 seat for the price of a pair of sneakers. But then, the great consolidation happened. Continental merged with United, Northwest merged with Delta, and US Airways merged with American. As these airlines joined forces, they realized that giving away first-class seats for free to elite status flyers was a bad business move. Now, the only airline status left on the Centurion card is a Delta Platinum Medallion, which is still decent, but the upgrade success rate has plummeted. Airlines have become incredibly aggressive at upselling those seats for 50 or 100 to people in economy before they ever reach the elite upgrade list. The free luxury is dead. The story is the same with hotels. We used to get top-tier status at Starwood Preferred Guest, which was the gold standard for suite upgrades. When Marriott bought SPG, that status was diluted into Marriott Gold, which is essentially worthless. You don't even get free breakfast at Marriott with Gold. In late checkout, you're paying $5,000 a year to be told that the late checkout you were promised is subject to availability. The final nail in the coffin was realizing that I could recreate 95% of the Centurion's value using a Frankenstein wallet for a fraction of the price. If I want Hilton Diamond status, I don't need a Black Card. I can just get the Hilton Honors Aspires card. It gives me Diamond status automatically, plus a free night reward and $400 in resort credits, all for an annual fee that's roughly 1/10 of what the Centurion costs. If I want Marriott Gold, I can get that with an Amex Platinum or even a Chase Marriott card. If I want high-end lounge access, the standard Amex Platinum gets me into the same Centurion lounges as a Black Card. Sure, I don't get the Centurion-only seating area, but is a slightly quieter chair really worth an extra $4,200 a year? And all these cards have sign-up bonuses, so you can even get more value. I'll put a link in the video description to my website that shows the best credit cards based on what you're looking for, whether it's cash back, points, travel, or 0% balance transfers, and their welcome offers. By optimizing my credit card setup, I realized I was paying for a lifestyle that could buy a la carte for much cheaper. I was holding onto the card because of the person I was in 2002, a young guy who wanted to feel important. But as a seasoned investor and traveler, I realized that true wealth isn't about the card you use to pay for dinner. It's about having the common sense not to overpay for the privilege of spending your own money.